Welcome to the Dental Marketing Secrets Podcast, where we provide insight and feedback on what's working right now in the world of dental marketing so that you can grow your practice, serve more patients, and leave a greater impact in the end. I'm your host, Mark Thackeray. All right, you guys, welcome back. We have another episode for you today. And I've got Dr. Henry Sobol here with me from Santa Clarita, just outside Los Angeles, if I remember correctly. Is that right?
Yes. Right down about a mile away from Magic Mountain. So
cool.
If you ever go out on a ride, come see me. White Crown.
Yeah.
I got
you. Awesome. I may take you up on that. My girls have been wanting to go down there for some time. So don't be surprised if I show up on your door is what I'm trying to say.
Not at all.
Oh, that's cool. Well, I'm so excited. We're going to be talking a little bit about review generation, the importance of reviews. But Dr. Sobol is actually, we were just talking beforehand, is a proud new father of a little girl, Sophia.
Yes.
Couple months old, and he's been gracious enough to join us today, and you even got some decent sleep last night, so we're counting our blessings right now.
Yeah.
No, very cool. Well, Dr. Sobol, why don't you take a minute real quick and just give us a little bit of background about yourself, about your practice, so we have a little bit of context before we dive into reviews.
Sure. So I am, I guess the first one in my family to be a dentist, number one. So I don't have any history of anything like that in my family where, we've had any professional doctors and stuff.
Right.
My brother's a pharmacist, so we kind of went down that track. My office, I did start from scratch. I was actually subleasing about one block from the location I'm at right now. And I was inside of an office working, building my patients. And I moved over to a physical location about 4 years ago now. And I've been here, Santa Clarita, kind of Main Street view. I'm not in like a professional building, anything like that. I'm more so like kind of street view. And my patients I brought over and, basically just open a dental office. You open the dental office and people will come. It's kind of a thing. There's something I like to refer to as called Jack in the Box dentist. It's like when you go to another plaza, it's when you see a Starbucks or when you see a Jack in the Box all the time. There's a dime a dozen dentists, but to find like the right one, I'm trying to be that guy, trying to be, the right one in the right spot at the right time. That's kind of my background with the office. I did graduate from Western University. That was in 2013, and I've been practicing since then. So my background experience is more so in I would say general dentistry, family dentistry, things like that. And I did do 2 years. I worked in a prosthodontic office where I was doing full mouth rehab cases in Glendale. And I'll tell you right now, that was not for me. Not all aspects of dentistry are for all dentists, in my opinion. And that was just, 12-hour days, just running room to room to room. And I've had a lot of experience with like working in corporate dentistry, working in private practices. My first job was in, I worked at Western Dental, like the mogul of all dentistry in Palmdale. And then I became a managing dentist there after about 6 months of working as an associate. And literally right out of school, I had about 6-7 dentists that were already working under me at that point. And it was okay, but it wasn't for me. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. So
I went more into private practice and did more private practice stuff. I worked in Simi Valley, Granada Hills, and I was working in LA for a while, kind of in a rougher area. Not sure if you're familiar with that area of Slauson in Vermont, but it's a little bit more rural. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
And it's a little rougher. Like you see patients that are not really willing to accept treatments. They're just kind of, I don't like dentists, this is how it goes kind of thing. And I moved from that area to here. Santa Clarita is more, I guess, like newer families and things like that. Demographic here is a little bit different. And I found that to be my pace, I guess, in a sense. It's a little more kind of my style of dentistry. I want to see families, I want to see kids. I want to see like their parents and grandparents. And I like referrals and like building like friendships and rapport. So that's what I bring to my practice. That's kind of where the background ended up going. I kind of did a bunch of stuff that I knew I didn't want to do after I did it. And now I'm doing what I want to do, now that I'm here.
Yeah. No, that's well, and that's that's what a lot of people, they have a similar path, right? I mean, you get into something, you think maybe this is what I want to do because the vision you have of that is such, and you go down that road, but then you discover once you're knee deep into it that, hey, this really isn't exactly what I'd hoped for. So I think that's a perfect. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I think it's a perfect segue into what we're going to be talking about today, which is reviews and how important those are to your practice. But as you were talking about that, I thought, there's so many people that try to be, and I've done this too, where I've tried to be so many things to so many different people because I knew they needed this and this and this. We do marketing, we do social media ads, we do email, but they also needed SEO, or they also needed this. And although I had some experience, I wasn't great at it and I didn't love it, and those are when you start, I guess, when you start spreading yourself a little thin, I think that's where, you lose a lot of those relationships that you're talking about. You can't perform at your highest level. And then you might get some of those negative reviews, and so I think that's anything you'd add to that, Dr. Sobol?
Yeah. I can tell you this. I have this philosophy, at least like one of my philosophies, where if you try and do 10 things at 10%, you'll never achieve the thing that you're trying to do because you're only focusing 10% of your effort on those 10 things. So it's like you take 10%. You just got to take one thing, focus it 100%, finish it to the end, then go on to the next thing and continue. That's how you build. If you don't do it that way, nothing ever gets accomplished. It always feels like all you're doing is just treading water.
Yeah.
So that is like the epitome of, having a dental practice and just trying to do like 10,000 things at once. Where in my practice, like, I think one of the biggest things is there's a lot of big things, but a big thing that matters to me is timing. So what I mean by that is, like, the patient comes in, I tell them their appointment's at 1:00. I honor their 1:00 appointment at that time. I don't have them wait in the waiting room. They're not waiting in other rooms. I'm not jumping room to room. I understand that in a lot of practices, it's not very like, how do I say this, feasible to do that, I guess.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to, manage this hygiene patient, manage this other patient who's just getting numbed, finishing up this crown prep. They're trying to do a bunch of stuff all at the same time. I sit down, I do what I have to do. I plan accordingly. So if the patient comes in for an exam, I know, okay, I have 15 minutes for my assistant to come in and do x-rays. Then I'm going to go and I'm going to check up on the patient. After the x-rays, do the exam. That's going to take me 15, 20 minutes. So in that time, I can see a post-op check. Or I can bring a patient in for like a crown delivery. So managing that time is like a huge, huge thing for me. And I think the patients, they seem to appreciate it.
Yeah. Oh, how many times have we been stuck waiting for, whether it's a dentist or a doctor or whomever, and you're just, I remember having an experience. It was probably 5 years ago now, maybe 6 years ago. And before I found like my dentist, and this guy, I literally waited for like 25 minutes in the chair and I didn't see anybody. Like nobody even came and checked. I was ready to walk out. I was like, one more minute and I was gone. And thankfully they came in
at the last minute. They always come in right before you're about ready to walk out.
But how does that, it just, that dramatically affects your overall experience and how you feel towards that doctor. You're just like, man, if I can, anyone that is going to do a better job, I would happily go there. So eventually I found the one that was good for me, but yeah, it's
so
it's a
many
big pain
patients
point.
say that. So many people. I finally found my doctor. I finally found my dentist. And to be honest with you, like that, I think that's the point. That's like one of the secrets. You need to be that person. You need to be that dentist that somebody found. But the thing is, I think a lot of just doctors, they think that you can do a cookie cutter application to how to sort of talk and be just a normal person with a patient. Not every, I said this earlier before we started the interview, you can't just learn and get straight A's in school and then come out and be the most amazing person in the entire world. You have to kind of either learn how to do that or already have that built in. So even because, just because you get, all A's doesn't mean you're a good doctor. You actually have to be a good doctor to be a good
Mhm.
doctor. There's no way around it. You can't pass an exam and they're like, oh, check mark.
Yeah.
That's it.
No.
You're good. You're good. You're good to go. You have to show the patient you care. And I'll tell you what's the easiest thing to do is to actually care.
Yeah.
There you go. If you actually care, then it's easy to put that across because you're not pretending, you're not rushing things, you're willing to answer questions. So like just having that approach, makes just a world of difference.
Mm-hmm. No, I
like you said, you don't wait. You come in, if I walk in the minute you sit down, right? You're going to be like, wow, like I didn't wait. If you walk into my waiting room and they're like, he'll be with you in a moment, and one moment passes and you're in, it's like, okay, makes perfect sense.
Yeah. No, I know that's such an impression, I mean, imagine, if they're sitting down and you're sitting down right with them, or you're already even in the room, and they're just like waiting for you, excited to meet you and see you again. I mean, that's a tremendous impression that you're leaving. So let me ask you this. So let's dive into reviews in particular. What point did you start really focusing in on reviews? Like, was there a specific point that you remember that, okay, now, this is a big deal. What did that look like for you? Or was it just, did you always know that, okay, this is going to be a big part of trying to reach those right people?
Good question. So I wouldn't say there's a right or wrong person to reach with a review. I feel like for one doctor, the wrong person could be the right person for another doctor, because that person is just combative or something, right? Yeah. So you don't know. Once you meet them, they're like, oh, I hate this dentist, but I love you. Okay, that works, Yeah. To answer your question, the review thing, it's always been an important aspect. I didn't adopt a review software, basically something that sends out like an end of day. How was your experience? How did you, I have like a tailored thing that I write. So it's automated, obviously. Mm-hmm. It goes out to the patients that I've seen that day. It's sent out like towards the end of the day. So that software I didn't implement till a little bit later. Reviews have always been important because my demographic is new families. My demographic is people who are 21 years old working at Magic Mountain, people who use internet, people who do reviews, people who do research. I don't want, and this might be weird to say, I don't want patients that don't do research. I want patients that care about their health. I want patients that I want quality patients. I don't want somebody coming in. I don't ever go to the dentist. I hate going to the dentist. I just need this one tooth fixed. You'll never see me again for 15, 20 years. I will take that patient. I will help them because they need help. They need something done. I get it. But long life patients that stay with me for the term of past the existence of the practice, they will think about me even after, I'm gone and there'll be another dentist in the world, I want those patients. I want the patients that will read the reviews, do the research. So getting reviews was always important. How do you get your name out otherwise?
Right.
You can't go on podcasts every day. You can't, for me, I can go and do, spend thousands of dollars on commercials. And to be honest, if somebody is willing to sit down and take the time, write a genuine review, and for somebody else to read that genuine review and be like, okay, I want to go see this guy. That is already the first step of having your foot in the door. Yeah. So that when they come, they have an expectation, they have things set up. They know, okay, I'm going to see this doctor. I've read all these great reviews. The mindset's already set up versus they go and they read like these 2-3 star reviews about this office. Oh, the doctor was okay, but the staff was horrible. And I had to wait for 5 hours. And I felt discomfort while doing this, So I think reviews have always been like a top-notch thing for me.
Yeah.
Google, Yelp. And some doctors hate Yelp. I hate this. I hate that. Listen, I know when to admit that you need something for your benefit. I'm not a person who will like stick up their nose and be like, no, Yelp is blah, blah, blah. No. Google, Yelp, Facebook, health grades, every single platform offers a different viewpoint to a different patient. Yelp might be to somebody who's like 20 to 40 years old who looks up restaurants. Right. Google is like somebody who's older who likes to just type into Google like dentist near me or something. Health grades is for the extra, like special, like I want to know about the doctor that's here, which is great. You want that. So I've always stressed the importance of it. And to give a nod to something else. So I had an office manager that her name was Heather. She was working at my practice since day one. She helped me build my practice for the first couple of years. And, me and her, we clicked initially, everything was great. And then it just kind of went downhill. Coronavirus hit, COVID, shut down this. So we just she went her own way and she actually moved out of state. Okay. So once I lost her in that sense, I had to kind of take the reins. So I knew what to do because I saw kind of what she was doing. Plus, I had a feeling as to things I wanted to implement, but because she was kind of set in her ways, I wasn't able to implement those specific things.
Yeah.
So once she was gone, I was able to put those in. And then something happened and the reviews just started rolling because we kind of reinforced it in the office in the sense like I never ask for a review until it's the last time I see that patient before a 6-month cleaning. I don't want them to leave me a review after their first appointment. I don't want them to leave me a review after their 10th appointment. I want them to leave me a review before I schedule them for their recall appointment because I want them to review their whole experience, not just this one time. Or those 2 times. So we started implementing that kind of approach, I guess. So then that started to roll a little bit. So hopefully that answers your question. I know I can go on tangents, but
no.
We could do this all day.
I know. No, but those were some great points that I wanted to follow up on too. So reviews, as you're talking about this too, I mean, it sounds like you pay a lot of attention to the overall experience, and so that's why, one of the reasons why you stress reviews so much is because of your attention to detail during the patient experience inside the office. And so one thing I wanted to ask you is how has that, how has seeing those reviews reinforced some of the behaviors, and how has it even seeing some, I'm sure you've gotten a negative review at some point. How has that changed your processes or your systems, like how you approach, an appointment, for example?
So you mean like from intake, or you mean like in general, like how the reviews have reflected us like changing the way we do things?
Yeah. How is it? Yeah. how have the reviews influenced your decisions and your actions?
So for the most part, I keep the same kind of thing that we do because I try and think of myself sitting in the chair. That to me, because I'll be honest with you, I don't like the dentist. Okay. I don't like going. I don't like getting teeth cleaned. I don't like any of that stuff until I became a dentist and I met some dental friends. And now I have people in the dental world who are my friends who do dentistry on me that I know. Great.
Yeah.
Up until that point, I mean, I've had some very bad experiences and I get it. So, you have to, before I can answer your question, I have to tell you this background thing. You have to visualize yourself in the chair. You don't want the anesthetic to hurt. You don't want to feel the drill. You don't want to wait in the waiting room. You don't want to smell the smells. I do not have a dental office smell in my dental office. It does not smell. If you know what I'm talking about, by saying then you know exactly, it does not smell like that. That material, it's called formal cresol, and there's another one called eugenol. I don't have it, period, because the smell just triggers memories for me and for everybody else. So based on the reviews, generally they say what they like about the office. I haven't really had any stuff saying they don't. The reason why, I don't have art on the wall of some generic family smiling with teeth and showing that I've never met in my entire life on the wall just to make it look cool. I don't have that. I have flowers. I have nature-y things on the wall. I don't have anywhere around the practice that has like photos of periodontal disease and like missing gum tissue inflammation. No, none of that. So the walls in my office are clean. If you want, after I'll give you a quick tour just so you can see what it kind of looks like. So the office is clean. Inside the rooms, I don't have a bunch of stuff everywhere. Everything's put inside of drawers. I recreate like a clean room. And I had all of my chairs reupholstered with memory foam because the worst possible thing that you can experience, in my opinion, is sitting in a chair and now you came in with tooth pain and you're leaving with back pain because you had to sit in the chair that was uncomfortable and just the worst thing ever. Mm-hmm. So my patients have dark sunglasses so that light isn't blinding them. I have like a little loop light. So it's going across, it's not blinding them. It's the dark sunglasses, keep it out of their eyes. They can sit comfortably. I have music playing at all times. I have either 80s, 90s, soft elevator music or something, going on. I have the TVs mounted. The mounted TVs have a screen wallpaper saver going across. So you're looking at something different. Everything is there to take you away from the and all those noises and sounds and this and suction and all this stuff. So that, I think, creates at least a better environment for the patients. And from the reviews, and I'll be honest, I got a review. So my one bad review was not 5 stars, it was 4 stars. Okay. The reason it was 4 stars. Yeah, right. The reason it was 4 stars was because it wasn't because of what I did. It wasn't because of what the assistant did, but the insurance. I quoted him one thing. So I play also in my practice. I play a big role in the front office. I don't just let my staff do it. I like to do it. I guess I'm just that kind of person. They call those control freaks, but I really try not to be difficult. Yeah. I feel like you need to delegate tasks, and there are certain tasks that your staff needs to know. They need to bring attention. They need to bring to your attention. They can't let it go. Right. If there's something going on that they can't handle, ask. If there's something going on that they don't know, ask. Don't be afraid. I will not punish you for asking. I will not punish you for even making a mistake. It's just being negligent. Then it's a different story.
Yeah.
So I had this review and no explanation, just 4-star rating. So we called the patient, and I'm like, I personally called the patient, and I'm like, I can't say his name obviously, but I'm like, so and so. I thought that we had a good experience. I just wanted to figure out why 4 stars. Was it something I did? He's like, there was nothing that you did. I'm like, okay. Was it something my assistant did? It was nothing that your assistant did. I'm like, okay, so what was the problem? He goes, well, when you initially gave me the quote, it was $100 less than what you're charging me now. And I said, well, there's something called the pre-authorization. You send to the insurance then gives you an answer as to how much. I can only give an estimate. Everybody's insurance is different. So we send a pre-authorization to get a hard number from insurance to get like an answer. So it was $300 instead of $200. So I told them, I'm like, I apologize. I do my best to try and give you an accurate number, but what can I do to change your 4-star experience to a 5-star experience? And he's like, well, I'm on so-and-so. I can, I have to afford this and blah, blah, blah. And I can't. And I said, would it make you happy if this is, I'm like, when I see you, we'll talk in person. He's like, yes, we can talk. Thank you so much for calling, blah, blah, blah. So I created one good experience for him over the phone, knowing that I didn't not hear his concern, right? He came in and I spoke to him. I'm like, okay, listen, we got to do this plan. We got blah, blah, blah. What can I do? And he's like thinking. I'm like, what if I honor the fee that I quoted you? Because I have the option to do something like that because that was what my system initially quoted. And I don't have to collect all the way up to what's called my UCR fee if I have a negotiated contract with an insurance, So I can charge him the fee that I estimated it would be, which is actually $100 less than what his insurance said, that he owes for that portion, which is, in my opinion, I feel like it's wrong. I can't let insurance dictate how I do treatment on my patients. I have an agreed fee. My agreed fee is contractual obligation. It says $200. If insurance then comes back and says $300, I can always say, listen, for the benefit of the patient, it's a $200 procedure because that's what I agreed to, and I can charge him that. And I told him, I'm going to do that. And then he went, and in the chair, he took his phone out and he put it to 5 stars, and he goes, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. So it's like some things like that, like that's what I can take from my reviews. And never to like be discouraged that, you have a review and someone might not like something, it doesn't mean you can't fix it. And it doesn't mean they can't go back in. You can change a Yelp review. They can go in and change it from 4 stars to 5 stars. They can go and change a Google review. Nothing's ever set in stone. But if you act like it's set in stone, then you're going to keep that. Yeah. You're going to keep that rating for life.
Well, that's such a good point too. Just that all these reviews are opportunities. So if they're not ideal, if they're not 5 stars, you have that opportunity to go and contact them to make it right, to really find out what is it that's holding them back. And I think you asked just a great, easy question that anyone could ask. How can I change your 4-star experience to a 5-star experience? Be very specific with that. And you just let them explain, and then if they don't, you can come up with ideas like you said. And, but then, and that's what a lot of people miss out on. I think you're totally right, where they feel like, okay, it's done. And they either don't have the energy or don't want to pursue it any further, or they feel like it's unchangeable,
I think that there's a fear that, they or their staff did something wrong and they have to be held accountable for it. And, when you have that, what I call the doctor God complex, where you're kind of just like, what the doctor says, doctor, go, that's it. Concrete. That's what it is. They have that, and they can never be wrong. And, when it comes to dentistry, I never tell somebody you're right or you're wrong. I tell them, this is my opinion. You can choose to do it if you want to, or you can choose not to do it. It's your body. When you go to a doctor and you're in a hospital, you get 2, 3, 4 opinions, and you go with the doctor that you think your mind, what you see your mindset line up with. That's the treatment you're going to get. For me, I stay more on the conservative side, or I do a little bit of conservative with preparing for the future. So I'll see something, I'm like, okay, it's a small little pit, we can watch it or we can treat it. If I see there's food stuck in it when I'm doing the exam, I'm like, you should get this thing treated because food's getting stuck. But if it's not stuck and it's whatever, okay. If I see you every 6 months, we'll catch it if it turns into a cavity. Right now, it's just a little chip in the tooth or something. I do it that way. Other doctors, you need a crown. I don't know. Right. You can come up with anything. So I don't do things that way. And I think that's another thing my patients appreciate, is that I'm not trying to nickel and dime for stuff. And I honestly don't care about that. I genuinely just want the patients to not have a horrible experience at the dentist, and they will bring me more patients that will also not have horrible experience. One of the biggest things is I always get, I don't know how many of my reviews you went through, but when I read through them, a lot of things that pop up is the anesthetic and the needle and the shot. For me, that is the most important aspect of dentistry from the moment they sit down in the chair. If they are uncomfortable, you need to numb that patient. You need to get them comfortable in the chair. They don't feel comfortable. They don't like it. You don't feel comfortable because you have to keep numbing. You don't feel comfortable because you can't work. They don't feel comfortable because now it's that, and they have to focus on breathing, and they don't want to choke on the water, and they have their nerves. So your number one goal before doing any work is to numb that patient to 100% so they do not feel it. If they do not feel it, the experience will be 100 million times better. Right. Because even the sound is associated with the pain. All that stuff is associated with the pain. If you don't feel any pain, they start disassociated. So it's not also just making sure they're numb. It's also giving the injection correctly, waiting for the topical to do its thing. I don't know if you've ever put topical in your mouth, like just to try it. But I swear, if you take topical and you put it in your mouth on a dry, just gingiva, anywhere, just dry it out, put it, and let it sit for 20 seconds, that area is going to be numb for 10 minutes. So you can literally put it, you wait not 1 second and inject, wait 30 seconds, wait 1 minute, dry it out and do it. Oh my God. That's it. That's the game changer right there. Yeah. The secret is right there.
We're done. That's it.
That's it. Done. That's how you get reviews. That's it.
Oh man. No, that's such a good point though. I mean, it's such a simple thing when you break it down like that, but it has monumental consequences. Like and I thought you articulated that beautifully, because if they're not comfortable in the chair, nothing else really matters, because all they're focused on is that discomfort. It compounds from there. It gets worse and worse. And that's such a great example. What I was going to ask you, so we've talked about really kind of your journey with this. What, as you've started to focus on review generation, you've really, looked hard at the patient experience that you're delivering, all those little steps, what has it done for your practice, would you say? I mean, as you've accumulated more and more reviews, have you seen a direct correlation between, new patients and things like that? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, that's like a 3-part thing. So the first part, the patients already, so they're going to refer. They're going to start bringing in their own family, their own friends. So they're bringing that in. The next part, the patients' referrals now have a preset notion that your office is going to take care of them.
Yeah.
Because they were taking care of it. They speak so highly. So they're coming in with a completely different mindset than just somebody who walked off the street who just had a bad experience at another dental.
Right.
Another dental office who just like, they come in and they're just like, oh my God, I've heard so much about you, da, da, da. And that already starts building. So it's already like +1 on your side.
Yeah.
And the patient referral and good experience just go hand in hand. You're going to generate more and more patients as it goes. I get a lot of my patients from like Google reviews and family members that like refer them. They have pain, and a patient becomes your best friend when they come to you in pain and you take them out of pain.
Yeah.
So they like you, because now that's what you do. You're no longer the dentist that causes pain. You're the dentist that takes them out of pain.
Yeah.
And for review generation, a big thing that you could use as a strategy is I don't do this in my practice more so. I guess this is something that I tried and everybody says it works, but I don't think it works. But it can work in the right situation. You reiterate and reinforce it as they're coming up from the end of their appointment. So if the doctor asks for a review, be like, hey, if you had a really good experience, appreciate that, leave me a little bit of feedback or something like that. And then, patient comes up to the front and the front staff is like, how was your appointment? Hope everything went okay. I hope you have a great day. You might receive a review link, or if you leave us a review, we'd really appreciate it. A lot of offices, they do. I don't want to say a lot of offices. I just want to say there's a moral gray area when it comes to rewarding patients for doing reviews. And like, oh, if you make a review, you enter in a raffle, or if you do this. No, 100 times no, never. Don't ever do that, because the reviews that are generated from that, first of all, they're bought in my eyes. Second of all, I don't believe anything genuine will ever come out of that review. And that patient will probably never refer anybody to you. You want people to leave reviews who are real people, who will leave real reviews, take the time and write something. Hell, I'd rather get a real rating from a patient and have no words than get a pre-bought review. Like that's how I see it. When you reward a patient for giving a review, no, that's just I'm 100% against that. I think that's the equivalent of like pretending to be a good dentist when you yourself know you're not. Like it's just not right. You shouldn't. You ask the patient if they like you, if they like the experience. It's really not that hard. They will take the time. They will leave you the review, because you are the guy who took them out of pain. You are the guy that took care of them in their time of need. You were the one who leveled with them. So I think that answers your question, right?
Yeah.
Like I think that gets there more or less. It's just, it does generate more patients, and the patients come in with a preconceived notion of what their appointment is going to be, which is so difficult. Imagine you made an impression on a patient that you've never even seen before, and they know you're good, or they know to trust you, or they know this. That's like not even thought of, not even spoken about, but it happens because they come in and they're like, oh, I heard so much about you. It's like a friend that they spoke about, and this is the first time you're meeting them. So that never hurts. That always helps.
Always. They're just predisposed to trust you and to like you and have a good experience already. So that makes a huge difference. Just the quality of referrals that you're getting, the quality of new patients that are coming in.
Yes.
Yeah, I could see that.
Quality
definitely.
is key. Quantity is great, but quantity does not give you lifelong patients. It gives you temporary patients that come in and come out, and you'll never see them again. And those are the patients that will potentially, for some reason, let's say they just have a bad day. They come to your office on that bad day, you will get a bad review. Why?
Yeah.
Because that patient had a bad day. But the ones who you've seen consistently, who have come to you, who know you, have history, who are willing to even build history. You don't even have to have history. You just have to have the willingness to actually stay, and the willingness to be a part of, what I call the dental family.
Yeah.
Then, they treat you like family. But yeah, it's kind of a catch-22. It's like you want more patients, but you want quality patients,
Right.
which you don't have a choice. It's not like you can choose who comes in or out your door. You just choose to help them. That's all. That's all you can really do.
Yeah.
So you have to try and create that. Another thing is, I don't know if you're familiar with Fred Joyle.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy, he did the book on everything is marketing, right? So
Yeah.
okay, like reading books for me, I can read a scientific article all day. Reading a book is a whole different story. Okay. Scientific articles, no problem. But I did his audiobook and I listened to his series. And I mean, he has one thing he said that like completely changed the way I look at dentistry is that dentistry is not just a service. Dentistry is not just a medicinal branch. Dentistry is like a mesh between two, where you are providing medical services, you are providing things for the patient, but you have to explain to them and create the value of what you are doing. So if they think the value is more in their big screen TV that they're going to buy for Black Friday than the service of getting those 2 crowns put in before they have pain or while they have pain or the veneer set or whatever they wanted, if you create the value and you can explain to them and they can understand, you are in the field of sales in that regard. But you have to actually know, like yourself, what is the value to create the value for them to understand. You have to know, like, why do all these fillings? Why don't they just pay $2,000 and go to Cabo and have a good time at Cabo for the temporary 1 week of fun that they're going to have, And it just comes down to your oral health is linked to everything. And you need to make sure it's linked to your mental state, which is a really crazy thing to think about. But if you can't look at yourself in the mirror because all your teeth are messed up, or you hide your smile, or you feel unhealthy, you feel like it's affecting things, don't ignore it. Take care of it, and that's what they look to us for as dentists, like for somebody they could trust. So you have to be that person. Now, whether you are that person or isn't is based on you. But me personally, I level with every patient, and I do not treat them as cookie cutters. I don't use the same formula for every patient. Every single patient is different. Every patient, I had a patient, she wants to hold a mirror while I do her teeth. She wants to see. Here's a mirror. Put it. I great. We're good. I have a light right here. I don't even need to worry about the light overhead. I have another patient. I don't want to know anything. I don't want to see anything. I don't want to hear anything. I'm like, turn up your music and we'll go. When I'm done, I'll let you know. Every patient is different. If you treat them as if they are different people and not just cattle, they appreciate that too. They see that. And I wouldn't want that for myself. I wouldn't want somebody to walk in and just be like, hey, Henry, what's up, man? Okay, get out of here. I want like them to be like, hey, what's up? How you doing? How's your family? How's this? Da, da, da. And I always set the time aside to have at least a little bit of conversation, never in, out, bye, hi, out. How you doing? How's the family? I try and remember people's names. I make notes in my chart. They went on vacation here. How was your vacation? Like all these little things, they add up. They really, really do.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. Total sense. One more question I wanted to ask you before we wrap it up. Because I hear this a lot too, when we're talking about, people are asking about reviews, but they say something along the lines of it takes too much time, so for those people that don't feel like they don't have the time to do this, what would your response be to that?
Too much time for what? To leave a review?
No, well, to try and generate more reviews, to ask patients or to implement a system.
To generate more reviews, there's time if you make time. Like that can be an excuse for anything. Like there's not enough time. There's literally time if you make time. You can buy a software. So I have the software, right? The EmpathIQ software. I saw them at CDA. I tried them out. They're integrated into Open Dental, which they weren't initially when I first got them. But now they are. So Open Dental is like a real good open source system. In my opinion, I like it better than a lot of other ones out there. Like EagleSoft Dentrix, and it's more affordable, which is good. But it integrates into Open Dental and it sends it out for you. So there's no question. You literally can set it up so it's automated. And I just put a very specific message. And the message is, and what I mean by very specific, it's like not just, hey, thanks, leave us a review. It's like, hey, insert name into here. I really appreciate you coming by the office, please leave us a review. Now, The thing is, it'll generate every appointment. But I'll never reinforce it until that appointment we set up for the 6-month cleaning, myself or with the staff. I let it go out.
Yeah.
Because it's like an automated thing. We use text messages in my office a lot.
Yeah.
So the patients are used to it. But I never say, hey, can you leave me a review? Unless it's the last time I'm seeing the patient before that 6-month checkup, or like if they're going out of state or something. I'm like, hey, if you don't mind, I appreciate any feedback you can give us. My staff really appreciates it. My staff sometimes says some stuff. They'll be like, oh, yeah, it looks good for the doctor, or on the doctor for us, or something like that. It makes us look good to the doctor. They'll come up with like some variation of that. So it's just, nuance that language a little bit, like flip it around. But if you don't ask, then it'll probably never happen once in a blue moon. So you definitely have to reinforce that. Just sending a link, it's not. People are so used to this automation. We're a creature of convenience, us humans. So that makes it easy and convenient for us to just ignore like automatic messages like, oh, your car oil change is done. Like, okay. Okay, cool. Move on past that. Don't click the link. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, and there's Empathic is a great solution for that. If you're looking to just have it automated and get done. But I loved your tip to just make it language that you use around your office, essentially. So it's not, so it doesn't seem like, hey, this is a canned message that someone else wrote, but it does sound like it's coming. Hey, this is coming from Dr. Sobol. Like I can tell that he wrote this, it sounds like something he would say.
I honestly, the number one thing that I found that generates the most reviews in general is the way the doctor sets himself or herself up in front of the patient, how they talk to the patient. I literally am, just as you and I are talking right now, is exactly how I talk to my patients. Yeah. There is no difference. I try not to sugarcoat things too much because I want them to understand the reality of situations. But I also, if it's a filling, I'm not like, you got to get this filling done or this tooth is going to break. It is going to become a root canal. I'm like, look, it's a simple filling. It's a very small thing. All we have to do, I can go after it. It's 10 minutes, little bit of buzzing, filling done. So that, and then obviously the software and all that stuff coupled with it, that's what actually brings it back to it. But if you're genuine and you actually put yourself out there so they can see how you are, not just as a doctor, but as a person, and they can, to some degree, understand your character, you're not going to jive with every person in the world. I'm sorry. That's not going to happen. Some patients will not like you no matter what. It's just the color of your hair. It could be any reason. But if you still do it, 98.5% of the patients, will respond positively to it. So, that's my opinion. That's my biggest advice I could give on all this. On top of the software, on top of everything, it's just, if you genuinely care, you genuinely want to do something and help, and you are there for when they need you. I'm not telling you go to their house, though I have done that for one patient who, again, I can't say the name. She had surgery and she could not make it to the office. She just could not do it. And she's not that far. Everybody in Santa Clarita is around here. I serve literally like this area. Yeah. So she's not that far. I popped by, she had a night guard. I literally brought a Dremel, adjusted the night guard, bought new Dremel pieces, everything, adjusted it for her. She's like, I'm going to do it myself. I'm like, no, let me just come. I'll do it. You don't even have to come to the office. And I took care of it. And I mean, she's been my patient since like the inception of my practice, so I don't know many people that would do that. I would do that, but I'm sure there are other people that will do the same kind of thing. That's just something.
Yeah. And it speaks volumes, those become kind of practice legends and stories that get passed around by patients, and I'm serious. I mean, they love to share those things. And that's really where you drive a lot of those new patients too, and referrals, because they're over the moon about you because of what you've done for them. How personalized you've made that treatment. So that's so cool. Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I mean, that's kind of the secret to all of this, right? It's to personalize the treatment and to like be the one who cares. I don't want to be what I told you, Jack in the Box dentist. I can't do that. Yeah. Like I've been there, done that on myself. It's happened. So I try and make it my mission to not be like that anywhere else.
Totally. Well, Dr. Sobol, thank you so much for joining us on the show. I know you're a busy man, so I appreciate you taking the time. If there are people that want to get in touch with you, maybe have questions or they want to learn more about, your approach to dentistry, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
So I would suggest emailing me. That'd probably be the best thing. I have my work email actually is one of the better ones because that thing gets checked all the time.
Yeah.
That thing is like always like no, there's that. Zero unread in there. Zero unread. It would just be simple info at and then whitecrowndental.com. Just my office, whitecrowndental.com. So pretty simple. Any questions, anything like that, they can always email me. And I'm glad to help. I mean, whatever I can do, realistically, what I can do, and any advice I can give, like, no problem. I'm happy, especially if I can like the person. God, right. Like we can sit down and we can like go out for lunch or something. I could talk with them. Like, great, perfect. Get me out of the house.
Right. So true. Well, that's awesome. Well, again, thank you so much for joining us. And that's Absolutely. What I love. That's honestly what I love about the dental community is it just seems like there's a lot of people willing to share. They're not so closed-minded.
Like secretive.
It's like, oh, this is proprietary. No, I'm not going to share that. But it's
I mean,
really
there's
cool
a formula, man. There's a formula. It's not, the formula changes. It's not set in stone like physics, but there's definitely a formula to this. And, if you get it right, you can make your mark. For sure. I mean, I would love to have a legendary conversation about it. That'd be great. I was a doctor back in the day. That'd be great. Not, I went to this one dentist that tortured and blah, blah, blah. He stood on my chest and pulled out a tooth. Yeah. So I would love that. That'd be great,
Mm-hmm. No, so true. Awesome. Well, thanks again. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Nice talking to you, Mark. Have a good rest of your day, man. And bye to the community.
Hey, you too.
See you guys later.
Hey, my friends, thank you for joining us today on the show. And if you haven't yet, be sure to check out our website for resources, downloads, and additional information at www.dentalmarketingsecretspodcast.com. Again, that's dentalmarketingsecretspodcast.com. And we'll catch you next time on the show.